just gave you new music all the way from Louis Capaldi, and he came through with Forget Me, and that was the Creative Natives edition. It's finally 8:10, and it's finally time for us to talk to one of my favorite people. I've got a list of people that I really want to interview, people that I really want to get to know, and people that really inspire me. And the guest in studio is definitely one of those people. From Guyana in South America to the heart of Botswana's fashion scene, Delayna Scott is proof that purpose has no borders. Now, she moved to Botswana when she was only 14, and today she's the powerhouse behind Delayna Scott. Now, I keep on using Delayna and Delayna interchangeably. Is that okay?
It is, because majority of the public know me as Delayna. But my name is actually pronounced as Delayna. So I just accept Delayna as well, because I can't keep correcting everybody. Oh, the Y is silent. The Y is silent, so it's acceptable. Delayna is acceptable because that's the way it's spelled.
All right.
But it's pronounced as Delayna. In the Caribbean, say Delayna. So it's different.
I get
It depends on the dialect, so.
Good evening and welcome to No Cap. Welcome to Ask a Pro. How are you feeling?
Great.
You don't sound great. I need energy.
No, I'm good. I mean, it's been a long day, but I'm good.
It really has. Now, today on Ask a Pro, we usually focus on individuals that are doing absolutely amazing in whatever field that they work in. And you're one of Botswana's top designers, having, walked global runways, having dressed Bommarona, Miss Botswanas. I mean, even Anisha today is wearing one of your designs. Let's go back to basics. Where did this all start and how did it start?
So the whole designing thing, it started with my family, because my dad's brother is a costume designer in the Caribbean for Carnival. You know Carnival, right? And then my mom also, she's a teacher, but she did tailoring work as a side business.
Okay.
So I've always had, so I feel like it's embedded in me, the whole designing thing. So I've always wanted to be a designer. I've always wanted to be a creative. So despite the fact that I studied pharmacy tech and did well in that, this was before I went to LIMCO and did fashion designing. I've always been a creative. I did graphic designing before I did fashion designing. But back in the day, parents didn't think that fashion designing is an actual career. They wanted you to have a backup.
True.
So pharmacy tech was my backup. So when I was done with the backup, I gave them their backup.
Like, here's your certificate.
Yes,
Bye.
here's yours. I'm gonna do me now. So I had contacted my dad, because my dad doesn't live here. My mom is here with me still. My dad is in the Caribbean. I contacted him, and then I said to him I wanted to go to this university to study fashion, and he was all for it. My mom was still a bit, she wasn't up for it. And then I went, and I think I had to prove to her that this is something that I really wanted to do. And during the duration of me being at LIMCO, I was the top student in my class.
Wow.
Throughout, graduated as best graduating student in fashion for the entire faculty. And I think that's when she decided, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to let you do your thing. So that's where it all started. So I started designing even before I left LIMCO in 2009 for lecturers. I started off with Mercy Tebe. I don't know if you know Mercy Tebe.
I do.
So Mercy Tebe was literally one of my first clients to date. She is still stuck with me.
Wow.
So big up to Mercy. But yeah, that's how it started. And it wasn't easy.
It really wasn't, because Mercy Tebe is actually one of our celebrities in Botswana, and you've dressed other celebrities as well, including the likes of Palesa Molefe. You have dressed Mposibina, Marang. The list is endless. How is your creative process like in moments of high intensity, especially when you're working with all of these big names?
I think now, because now I work with a lot of them. Back then when I was doing Mercy, it was just like, she just allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. It was more or less like a motivational thing. So whatever came to mind, I would just make for her and she would wear without complaining. So now with the bigger names and stuff like that, obviously you get to know them, you know their personality, you know what they're, like for example, Mposibina, I know her style. I know what kind of person she is. I know what kind of clothes she likes. So obviously it comes easy when I'm making something for her. So she would just call and say, I need an outfit. I know what to make for her. The same thing with Marang, the same thing with, well, Palesa is the easiest. She just shows up. she would just call, Dee, I need to do a shoot, and I know what to dress her because I've been able to study her body. Because I dressed her for the last 6 months of her reign. So that became easy as well. And now with the others, it's just been easy flow. I think with them, they understand that I am a person who can just come up with a design depending on how I feel. So it's never been a situation where they had to send me ideas in order for me to come up with something for them.
Now, your brand is known for limited edition collections. How do you decide what's worthy of being a limited edition for your brand?
You know, the funny thing is with limited edition. So I do bridal collections once a year.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's February because we're just opening, we're getting back into the new year or whatever. But this year we skipped that because I traveled. My birthday, 40th, I traveled. But usually with those kind of collections, it's more or less like when I sit down, I need to be in the zone to come up with a collection. And it's not something that I can just sit and sketch today and put timelines to. It takes time. So if today I'm not in the mood, I'm not going to come up with anything. So that is how collections go for me. And then with ready-to-wear collections, I hardly ever do those. Those are the ones that are limited. Because I never have them readily available in my studio. Neither do I have bridal stuff readily available in my studio. But with ready-to-wear dresses, it's a make and go kind of thing. If you come to me and it fits, you go with it. I'm not going to remake whatever you see on social media because we hardly ever do ready-to-wear. So it's literally a once-off thing. That's why we usually say limited edition. Because whereas with wedding gowns, if you see it, we can make it for you. If you see it on our page, you can come to us, we can make that for you. But if it's like the maxi dresses and stuff, you see it, you come and fit it, and you go with it. We're not remaking that at all. Because it's not really, it's just something that happens. If it's slow season and we're bored, we make it. Because there's time. But mostly, everybody knows that our niche is mostly bridal and couture. So with those, it's just if we're bored.
What are some of the challenges that you faced, especially when you were starting, and maybe some challenges that you're facing now?
I think when anyone that is starting a business, there will obviously be challenges. My biggest challenge, I think, was the xenophobia issue.
No, in Botswana.
Yes. I mean, you know, a lot of people think that it's not there.
Yeah.
But it is there. And I think in order for you to feel it, you need to be a foreigner to understand it. So I went through that a lot, especially when I was invited to shows outside of the country. And obviously you need a certain amount of funds, and all those funds are not there. You need to knock on doors to try and get sponsorship, and you're being told things like you're not a local, so we can't sponsor you, unfortunately. I remember also there was a Botswana Fashion Week. Botswana had a Fashion Week in 2011, the very first one, and it never happened again. I was actually the overall winner for that Fashion Week. And
wow, congratulations.
The prize was to go to Nigeria. And when it was time for the sponsorship to come on board, I was told I can't go because they can't sponsor me because I'm not a local. I mean, obviously at the time, because I'm still new in the industry, obviously you get frustrated, you feel sad, you ask yourself questions. Am I doing the right thing? Is it like, did I choose the right path in designing or whatever? Is it going to be like this all the time? Because this is where I reside now. But I mean, I've overcome those challenges. I've overcome it by deciding to go to New York Fashion Week on my own. I was invited. Okay. I paid for myself. Okay. With the support of my family, obviously. And then the same thing with when I went to New York Fashion Week, I got invited to Cannes Film Festival in France. Also that sponsored myself. I think after that time I just stopped looking for sponsorship, period. And I just decided, you know what, if I really want to do this and I really want to make it and I really want to go international, I need to do this on my own. And I need to do it with a support. I can't depend on a government, or I can't depend on knocking on doors. I need to push. So I think my parents saw that this is something that I really wanted to do, and they stepped in and they assisted me, and I went and I did well. And you know, you came back, and that's where the noise started. I mean,
yeah,
that's just how it's done here, though. I mean,
that's
you
true,
know how it is. Beauty queens go through the same thing.
Yeah,
athletes go through the same thing.
It's
they
true.
reign for like a short period of time. or they go, and if they don't do well, then nobody cares. If they do well, that there's that noise. So it is what it is. That's just how it is here. So
that's honestly true. There's a young designer right now that's listening, right? And they're obsessing and they're jumping and they're probably recording this interview, but they don't know how to price. What advice would you give in terms of pricing whatever design or whatever garment that it is that they make as quick as you can?
You know, pricing is very tricky, especially when you're starting out, because you obviously can't price your garments the way established designer can.
Yes.
Because you obviously need to build a clientele and all those things. So it's very, very difficult when you're starting up a business to try and price dresses. So in order for you to be smart with your pricing, you obviously have to look at certain things like how much is the fabric?
Yeah.
How much are you going to spend for transport? How much time are you going to put in labor and all of those things? And then you put that together and then you see, does it make sense for me to charge a client 2.5 when I'm going to be literally spending 1.2 on just 1 meter of lace? Like, does it really make sense? So I would say to young designers, it's always important before starting your business to intern. Find an established designer that you can intern and learn the ins and outs. I think that was my mistake. We interned during our school time because we had to in our last semester, but I wish there was that designer that we could have gone to intern and learn the ins and outs about the business in general before getting there, because it was a struggle for years before we can get to where we are today.
Creativity.
It's a process. It's a process, and in order for you to be in the fashion industry in Botswana, you need to be patient. If you're not patient, then you're in the wrong industry.
Plus 267391166. We're with Delayna Scott in studio. Quickly run to her Facebook and Instagram and check out some of the designs that she's made. And if at all you have any questions, send them through. I see a couple of questions coming through and I'm so excited to address a certain question because that's how I've been feeling for such a long time. Stay tuned.